right, Crawlspacers, welcome to our Death Spiral. No, the show's not ending. The story is called Death Spiral. We've got symbiotes involved, and so I called up our biggest symbiote expert right there. Tyler, what's up? What's up, sir? You ready to talk symbiotes? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. And...
Hey.
There you are. You ready to talk about some symbiotes?
I am, yeah. We even got some flash.
Yeah, you do have a little flash hitting on our girl. What's that about? We'll talk about that in a minute. But oh, you're muted again for some reason.
Oh my God. Okay.
There it goes.
So
there
we'll get into that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. We also have JR in the house. What's going on, JR?
Can't wait to get started.
He's so happy to be here, folks.
Where do symbiotes rank? Like, what's above symbiotes? What's below symbiotes when it comes to your love of spider characters, JR?
Here's the thing, though. Sometimes it's not necessarily a bad character or a bad idea. It's what you do with them. And this whole symbiote, I mean, I don't dislike the concept. I didn't dislike the original concept. I didn't dislike the original characterization of Brock as Venom. I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it. I was able to understand it finally, but it's just morphed into something. It is what it is. It's a cottage industry in itself. It's a machine. It's a beast that simply must be fed. It's like the Punisher. They became so popular they spun out a Spider-Man. That's what happens. Mike, what's going on, sir?
Welcome to the most apropos named crossover of all time, given the state of the industry.
the Death Spiral. We also have Christina in the house. What's going on, Christina?
Back again. Let's do it.
Let's go. And we're finished. The end of the spiral ends with Josh. Josh is our last spiral.
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah.
Bakeman says JR in his usual joyous mood. Jeff Cole says, hey, everyone.
Hey,
Tevye
Jeff.
says hello. Multi Don Carlos says, hi, Brad. So what's going on, everybody? Again, if you're in chat after we give our grades, feel free to let us know what you think of the issue along with us. And, of course, we're going to start off this issue with Tyler talking about it. Since he's our symbiote expert, he's going to lead us through this first one shot. Now, do you think this was meant to be Eddie Brock Carnage number 11?
I'm not sure about this. Definitely one of the issues we'll get into is for sure Carnage issue. This one I'm not sure because it is a lot of setup. This is getting like tying in everyone, introducing where everyone is at this point. So this very well could have been a one shot like they've always planned for, but definitely late. I mean, it's definitely the artist for Carnage. So.
Hey, we wasted a whole page with a piece of notebook paper. Okay, here we go. We got flow charts.
Yeah, and it's a little weird looking Venom, but
that is a weird looking Venom. What's going on there?
I generally like this artist, but I do not like how they draw all new Venom.
It's got the original Sonic the Hedgehog teeth.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable to look at.
We got 3 writers. So you got the ASM writer. You got the Venom writer, and you got Charles Soule, who was writing the Eddie Brock Carnage book, teaming up together with how many artists we got going on this thing?
Oh, just Jesus.
One.
Jesus. Oh, I thought it was. I was looking at the variants. My bad.
Just the one.
Okay. So 9 parts that we're reviewing. All right. Mow some grass.
So we open up just Peter just sort of reminiscing about all these relationships you got to repair, and just like, and we're just seeing this random lawnmower just suddenly keel over and die, and we don't know what that's about. We cut over to Peter. He's checking in all his mail, all his messages. Currently he is talking to Johnny Storm. He's how's Symbi and the other aliens doing? Still with that awful mustache. Johnny's talking to him. Just we get a little info here at the bottom of the page of this dead lawnmower is Gerald Obrock, and get used to that because we're going to get one of those every single page, basically, a random death. So, Meanwhile, Peter's talking to, I guess, Raylith finally got some ice cream, but they're very bored. And he's like, just hold on a little bit. Another death, of course. And then what does Peter Parker do? What does Mr. Responsible do with all these messages? He's like, I'm going to go be Spider-Man. me ignore this. And so just he just literally just while fighting crime, he's just going through his messages. Oh, there's another Aunt May one. Like, oh, Eddie B, I don't care, delete. And just Dr. Osmani Milton. Oh, I better go see this because this is my friend Brian, who I care about a lot and always have. So,
for 60 years, I've cared about this guy. Haven't mentioned him until the last year, but this guy's my BFF.
Yeah. So there's Astrid is there. I honestly don't even remember Astrid, but
I don't either.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's checking in on his friend Brian's in a coma, and more deaths on the bottom of the page. But he's like, well, he seems to be recovering. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's hope he beats it. And I guess Brian has been watching the Tom Cruise Mummy movie based on that pupil. One of the few.
Or the
people
Brand New
who
Day
watch
trailer. That looks like Tom Holland's eyes.
Yeah. Well. Anyway.
Oh,
We
Brock.
get another O'Brock death, and the one guy who's meant, it's like, that's a weird spelling of Brock. So then we get more messages. Peter's deleting. Another Eddie Brock one, delete. Randy, delete. Miles, delete. MJ, another Brock dead. And then, but suddenly, I guess he finally hears one message. Eddie Brock doesn't even try to leave a message. He says, hey, Peter, this is Eddie. Carnage knows who you are. Bye. I got it.
Better listen to that one.
Yeah, so, and Peter starts like, oh, crap. Like, that's bad.
And then O'Reilly died.
Yeah, then O'Reilly died. Yeah. And so, and then we cut over to none other than Eddie himself. And Eddie Brock is just killing cockroaches. And so he's just having a conversation with the Carnage symbiote and how they're back in New York. And they're just, Carnage's like, come on, we're ready to kill some things. And it's not just me, because this is basically just introduction. If you haven't been reading the Eddie Brock Carnage series, these 2 pages are for you. It's like Eddie Brock is Carnage, and he basically has to kill. Not only was it a deal with Carnage, like, hey, I control you, but we're going to go after serial killers. But we found out that in the series, his body just has an urge to kill while bonded with the symbiote. And if he doesn't get a kill, the symbiote's just going to reach out even without Carnage's control. Like, it's just going to instinctively try to kill. So he's like, okay, Carnage, let's get to it. Let's go find this Torment guy who's been, we think, is linking all these murders somehow. And so,
real quick, Tyler, did we meet Torment at the end of the Eddie Brock show?
No, it was Muse from the Daredevil show.
That's one thing. I'm getting those confused.
Yeah, they're very similar. Both all white costumes and just murderers.
And this one, is this Torment's very first appearance?
This is, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so Carnage's like, all right, buddy, let's go kill. Let's go find Torment. And so
then another Brock dies.
Yep, another Brock. And then he shows up right outside an apartment, climbs in. Carnage's like, I don't think this is where it is, but, whatever. And he gets well-dressed with his shape-shifting. And he opens the door, and it's Dylan. And Carnage's like, this is not Torment. What the hell are you doing, Eddie? And Eddie Brock just gets punched in the face by his own son. Carnage thinks that's amusing. And then we get everyone's favorite character, Paul, to chime in. And so the one thing, Eddie goes, oh, Paul's here, as if Eddie has ever met Paul before, which is not the case, but he just
Paul's
seems
infamy
to know
has
who Paul
expanded, don't you see? His infamy has spread far and wide throughout the MCU, the Marvel universe.
There was a Marvel email that said everyone hate Paul, and there was an attachment of his picture. He got the email.
So yeah, Eddie's just like, oh great, it's Paul. I know, right? So he just knows. Anyway,
they killed the Brad Brock. Oh no, Brad Brock.
Sorry, Brad. But yeah, and then so
look at this
like,
lady.
hey,
she's
Paul,
really,
nobody
she's
likes
really
you.
upset.
Go talk somewhere else while I talk to my dad. So, and then we get some he's trying to get like engaged with his son, but he's like, hey, I just need you, tell me where Venom is. And so of course Dylan gets pissed, like, oh, you're not here for your son or anything. By the way, Venom's an MJ right now, so have fun with that. Yeah. So then we cut over Central Park, and it's MJ herself is talking with Flash, my man Flash. And so we get sort of wrap up some of the Madam Mask stuff that was happening. They're talking about that. And then he sort of says, like, oh, how are you with Peter these days? Have you told him? It's like, yeah, but it didn't go well. Obviously, we know that was Ben Reilly, but she does not. There's a Parker dead. We sort of get a recap for why Venom is bonded to MJ. So in case you haven't been reading the Venom comic, so this is another good jumping on point. This is why this is an alpha issue. And so they're also, and I will say it's weird that they're talking about Spider-Man. Like, have you told Spider-Man? They never, even though they both know that Peter is Spider-Man, they always talk about, they never say Peter. They only say Spider-Man. So maybe they don't know each other knows
Wait a minute.
Peter's identity.
When does Flash know? When did Flash know?
800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before he
Okay.
died, he found out. It was dumb. It was, yeah. It's been.
Well, maybe when he came back to life, he forgot. I don't know.
No, he's still.
No, because he was
He
at
definitely still
Peter's birthday too, right? In 900.
I can't keep track.
So yeah, he does know, but nothing has been done with it, unfortunately. Like as is a
Yeah.
lot of Marvel things in Spider-Man. So anyway, so they're like, hey, so anyway, they're both talking about Peter. Like that is weird of Spider-Man not to like just cut you off like that. But that's not how you treat a friend. And MJ goes like, okay, speaking of friends, what are we, Flash? Because again, if you have been reading the
this.
Venom comic,
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, because if you've been reading the Venom comic, there's been a subtle, like, thing implying that these two might have an attraction to each other of some sort.
Oh no.
It started off with the Venom symbiote, like, literally reading MJ's mind and saying, "Hey MJ, you want to?" Or "Hey Flash, you want to go to coffee?" And she's like, "Don't say everything I'm thinking." And then Flash sort of shrugged, "Sure." And then we got a quote unquote coffee date with those two, except he was sort of. He knew Madame Mask was listening and he was sort of like bullshitting a conversation. And so, but some people thought was that a real conversation Flash was doing or like, and so this is sort of directly addressing that. And Flash is like, look, we're friends. Do I want it to be more? Maybe. And so MJ's like, oh, that's comfortable to hear. But Flash is like, look, if you don't want more, you've been out of a relationship. I know it can be rocky, but I like that you're my friend. Like, I don't want to ruin this friendship, and if this would ruin it, I don't want to do that. So that's where I'm at.
Refresh me. She dated Harry. She's dated Peter. Has these two ever gone out?
there
With
was
the exception of
during
the first
Ross-
Tobey Maguire
wasn't there
movie.
wasn't there something during the Ross Andrew run?
Yes.
Yeah, that there was an
What happened?
I think she was trying to make him Peter jealous or for some reason. I think defer to our expert JR here about that. So
Yeah, she was trying to make Peter jealous. It was like in the issue 150-ish, but when then it got resolved in the 160s. So, but there was a hint though that Flash had something for Mary Jane in the first reboot when Mysterio had them all trapped in a dream. And Flash was marrying Mary Jane in his dream. So there's been hints here and there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so otherwise they decide to say friends, and they're both good with that. So I don't really know what the point of that entire weird plot line, which is to bait readers, I guess, make people angry because Marvel loves doing that. But either way, a whole bus full of Brocks dies on the way to another Brock funeral.
A whole bus full of Brocks at the funeral.
Yeah, I guess they weren't
Yeah.
going over the certain speed limit at miles per hour or whatever. That's how that.
Why can't this character get knocked off? Oh my god.
just
So-
wait.
Anyway,
Probably-
so
probably
yeah,
gonna
she gets a call from Paul. She's like, "Oh, I guess I better answer this from my ex." But he's like, "Hey, Eddie Brock came to the door," and then the Venom symbiote's like, "Eddie," and they're both like, "He's alive!" Like, "Oh, this is great!" Like, but I mean, the Venom symbiote thinks it's great. Mary Jane's not so hot on the idea, but she's like, he talked to Dylan. Dylan's not doing well because this is a little boy who's been through a lot of trauma, and now his dad doesn't even want to see him because they really care more about the Venom symbiote being one of his dads instead of Eddie, and it's really weird, but that's how they've been writing it.
Then this Brock died fishing.
And then we get another Brock that I guess it's Eddie's uncle has died. He's surviving only by his younger brother Carl Brock. So that is Eddie's uncle. Sorry, hardly knew you. Anyway, like, hey, is Scar still patrolling for symbiotes? And he's like, well, I'm in charge as Agent Anti-Venom, so I can try to mediate. But then MJ Venom's up. She's like, and the Venom symbiote starts talking to Flash, like, hey, tell MJ this is a good thing. I like Eddie, you like Eddie. This is great. This is all good. And so, except it's kind of weird because I don't know why they're surprised that Eddie is alive. And like the whole thing, I remember at the end of Venom War, they literally went to like Flash says, "I'll go heal Eddie," and then they all just forgot about him. So like a page later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we go back to Carnage, and Carnage's like, "Hey, reminding you, we gotta kill, because that's what I do, and you need to too." But it's like Eddie Brock's like, "Shut up, Carnage. I just need some rest." He's like, "Yeah, good idea. You're the boss. Go ahead, get some sleep." And suddenly, while Eddie Brock goes to sleep in this abandoned like apartment or something, the rooftop he's on, the Carnage symbiote manages to start controlling itself and pulls out his phone. And he starts messaging Torment on the dark web, I guess.
Who knew Sentry and the Void had a chat program? Void chat.
So I guess there's a message conversation between Redman and Torment says like, "Hey," or Carnage says, "Look, you have your Eddie Brock and Peter Parker, but there's another name into this spiral, Mary Jane Watson." And we see this mysterious guy with this little picture of spirals of people he's hunting down, and he's like,
Panties
"MJ,
around his neck.
beautiful." So, to be continued.
To be continued. Okay. What's your grade on that, Tyler?
I'll give this a B.
Okay. JR, what's your grade on it?
D for don't give a damn.
Mike, what's your grade?
I'm giving this a B minus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christina?
I'm gonna give it a C plus.
Okay. Josh, what's your grade?
D for don't care.
Oh.
I'm gonna give it a B plus. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Maybe it's because I'm coming off of Spider-Man in space, but I liked it. I like Charles Soule's writing. I liked his Eddie Brock Carnage book a lot.
I agree.
Mhm.
So Tyler, it looks like you and I are in the same camp.
Yep.
Why did you like it? What's some pros?
Immediately I'll just start off with the art. Other than the way Venom looks, I think the art's very well done, and especially, the colors too. Just like, especially with Eddie, you get a sense of dread just in the background with the dark colors in the sky and everything. And just like, I just really like Jesus' art style, and I think it really works for Carnage, especially. And just yeah,
I'm not sure it works for Spider-Man. It's a little dark for Spider-Man.
That's fair, but
for that's. He's got more of a horror look, and it fits very well with symbiotes.
Another pro I'll give it is that I think this works really well as an alpha issue, as the jumping on point for a new event for new readers. I think it successfully does exactly what it is trying to, and where it's bringing it's continuing ASM's plot line, it's continuing Eddie's plot line, continuing Venom. It's catching everybody up on where these characters are at right now, and as well as giving teases for moving forward. And we're also getting some meetups we haven't seen in a long time, like Eddie and Dylan finally confronting after not talking for Eddie Brock's whole Carnage series. So it's a little disappointing with how that played out, but I mean, it's just, I guess, more trauma for Dylan. So it's just yeah.
One of my pros is the writing aspect of all the Brocks and the Rileys. Every page has a death, and I thought that was clever. I just Miss Parker Green was attacked by sharks. Every page has a death, a Ben Reilly death, Brock death.
And it's setting, of course, the final page. It's going to be setting up, of course, the final page reveal of what's good, that you realize. Okay, so because again, none of these deaths are actually accidental, even though they look accidental. And I think, going off of what you said, Tyler, I think in terms of getting the readers up to speed, it does that. Because again, as part of this whole crossover, the whole idea is like, maybe some people were not maybe reading the Venom book or the Carnage book, or maybe even some ASM, like they're not reading all three together. So ideally, this is the kind of thing you would need to use to get people basically say, here's what's been going on in these stories, and now we're going to move forward with this one. So it's kind of I like the idea of a killer that kills a family tree. I don't think I've seen that. I think that's clever. That's something I've not read before or heard before.
Yeah,
that's a new motivation.
And the deaths at the bottom of the page, they are very effective at like this sense of impending dread, like throughout, like bad things are happening, no one is stopping it.
You finally got the one that you care about if they kill.
Yeah.
On the last page, that's a cliffhanger. That's pretty good, I thought. I just thought it was written very clever. Other pros that we've not mentioned, anyone? Okay.
Okay.
Tyler, it's you and me, kid. Tyler, what's a con for you?
A con for me is, I mean, one of the things is the Flash and MJ conversation. It's just like,
Oh yeah, it goes nowhere.
I'm glad they had this conversation of cut it off, but at the same time, why was it introduced in the first place? It's just really frustrating that it just feels like they are just trying to bait readers. And then, like, I expect more of Ewing, because I assume Ewing is writing this part.
I think,
because he's
I think so.
Flash
Yeah.
and MJ, and so it's just frustrating. Like, why would he set this up to just to immediately end it a few issues later? It didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened. It just seemed like just to piss people off specifically, because it wasn't even really a thing. It was just like they decide to have a conversation about it after kind of teasing it, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, what was the point? Like, I feel like if you could have said, like, MJ, maybe she could have admitted, like, I'm just getting out of a breakup, and it caused feelings in me. And I think the Venom symbiote just subconsciously picked up on those. I didn't mean anything by it, and so I think that would have at least been a little better than like having a direct like face-to-face conversation. But it's just weird, and it feels like this miscommunication, and I don't know. It's a weird thing to introduce.
I'll give you that. Other cons, JR, you gave it a D. What? I know you don't care. What did you not appreciate the writing at all of it? I thought the writing was clever.
No, I mean,
okay.
I just, it's like, it's like, I don't care about anything in this story. Nothing is interesting to me about this story.
Well, your Peter Parker wasn't very heroic. I mean, he didn't have any responsibility for getting his life back together, returning phone calls, paying bills. He wasn't very responsible. I can understand why, if from the Spider-Man aspect, we're kind of disappointed. So. Josh, your thoughts?
Major cons is that Peter's like, okay, back. I need to be responsible. See ya, and just swings off. Like,
fair.
Just completely ignores all of it. I don't like the art. He draws teeth weird. I just that, and like Tyler's absolutely correct. This is a really good alpha one, and like for someone who has not read either of the other series, I actually have a relative idea where this is going now. I just don't like it, and I'm just not a fan. I don't like. It's like, okay, Eddie's now Carnage instead of Venom. Mary Jane's Venom. That's stupid, but whatever. Yeah.
Mike, pros, cons. What do you got?
So pros, I think with this, I think like Tyler said, it's a good startup issue. I'm not quite as enthusiastic about the art. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that one guy who did. It seemed like a lesser version of the guy who did the art for Garth Ennis's Punisher run. I can't remember who that artist was.
Steve Dillon.
Steve Dillon. Yeah, it looked a lot.
Dillon. Yes.
It did look a little bit like a second-rate Steve Dillon in some parts. And I think, I didn't really care for the Flash and MJ scene. I thought that was like, yeah, it's kind of rage baiting panel. But in terms of the setup, it's at least intriguing, and it's to me because it's a good it's a decent setup thing. I wouldn't necessarily it's the greatest thing. It doesn't like wow you, but it does the job essentially. So
well, the last panel made you give a damn, didn't it?
A little bit, yeah, because you're like, so that's how they're kind of connecting, how they got to connect her in the story somehow, and so it's like, okay, and we'll get into we get into like the modus operandi a little bit more in later issues, but but yeah, and
Christina, did we hear from you any pros or cons out of you on this one?
I did like it at the end where it was revealed that Carnage is secretly the one been helping Torment out. And then I do agree with you about the stuff at the bottom of the pages showing all these people related to Peter and Eddie being killed off and stuff. And then I didn't mind the art up until the point where you had the panel with MJ where she's going.
Yeah.
It's like oh my God. Yeah. But I didn't mind it. And then I know we've been talking about how this has been an alpha issue and that it's a good starting point. But for somebody, like, at least this is from my point of view, I've read all these series. I didn't necessarily need like all the ketchup on it and stuff because I've already been reading that. So
I think it's because you and I are in the minority. They wanted a bigger, broad catch everybody that maybe just reads Amazing Spider-Man. So, all right, we got, let's do grades. Tevye, I give it a D, mostly because of Mary Jane and Flash is disgusting. And a big slap in the face for us Peter Parker fans. I also want Paul to go away, and I'm tired of MJ's Venom. Multi Don Carlo gave it a D. Mr. Comics with a D minus.
Ooh, that's crazy.
wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Mr.
Nelly.
Comics.
He's always way higher than me.
I mean, serious. What? I'm on the complete opposite end of Mr. Comics. Good grief. T-Man, B minus, enjoyed the writing and the Carnage and Eddie stuff. Didn't enjoy Flash in this. Neo, the one, A, highest grade of all of us. There you go. Let's see. Jeff Cole, C. Trayvon gave it a B. Let's see. Upon the Horizon, B minus. I didn't read this issue. Can Paul go away? I really want Torment to get rid of Paul. Mighty Crane 18 says Marvel Comics love to make 616 Peter Parker suffer.
Mm-hmm.
One more day ruined everything. Whoa,
Yeah.
Mr. Crane dropping F-bombs in chat. Okay, we're going to pop that up there. Imagine if Torment is Paul.
No.
No such luck.
I think Torment's too smart to be Paul. Okay, now let's go to the. How many more issues we got? There's 3 more to do.
We got 3 more.
3 more. And JR, let's go to you since you loved the first part so much.
Sorry,
Let's
JR.
see if part 2 gets you up at least to the A zone. All right. Who we got writing this? Joe Kelly, probably.
Yep. Joe Kelly's going to be writing this one.
Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness on penciler. Man, we've killed. Look at this, Jared. We've killed 3 pages. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That sucks. For
Yeah.
$5.
The worst part is Marvel's proud of this.
Yep. Probably for.
Gosh.
This is giving off all kinds of Maximum Carnage vibes for all the wrong reasons, frankly.
Yeah.
Hey, JR, you got any anxiety? Try Chillitude.
Yeah.
Feel better.
Look at the
Only
bottom.
the best
10
side effect.
times daily.
Wow.
That's funny.
Oh.
All right. Take me through it, JR.
Anyway, here's my only pro is that I got the variant issue, and I think this is actually kind of a cool cover.
Ooh, that's a good looking
Yeah.
cover.
That is.
I like that.
I did like this cover. In fact, the only covers that seem to be interesting are the ones that have Mary Jane in them.
What was the other one? What was the other one you're holding up?
Venom.
Well, this is the next issue.
That's the next issue.
Okay.
That's the cover I got.
Nice.
Hey, there's an advertisement for Spider-Versity on the back. Oh, right.
Hey, I think you should come on
Looking forward to
Satellites and
that.
review that for us. You want to review that for Satellites?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
I gotta
That says you all over it.
Anyway, as the story opens, Peter is worrying because he has found out that, from Eddie that Carnage knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Well, he happens to be, worrying about this in the midst of Aunt May and Slick Rick bringing to his attention that Peter's Aunt Brenda has died because unlike everybody else who seems intrigued by a death on every page, I found it tiresome and false drama, but nonetheless. And frankly, if I were Peter, Big Rick would be eating his food through a straw, to be honest.
Oh, you're not going to beat up an old man.
Why not? I mean,
I'm an old man. Okay, I get it. By the way, what happened to Rick's earring? Rick lost his earring.
He's bald, so you know that he's up to no good. Anyway, so Aunt May's disappointed that Peter vanished for a while, and of course Aunt May brings it all to a head by making a stupid ass sex joke because we all love to joke about old people having sex. We thought it was so funny during when she was fooling around with J. Jonah Jameson's dad,
Don't worry, JR.
yeah,
I don't joke about you having sex. So
Well,
You should. No.
you would be talking about something that hasn't existed in a very long time.
Oh,
Trust me,
my
Josh.
God.
Once you, Josh, here,
I
take
knew
it-
you were
take-
going to say
take-
something to Josh. I knew.
Josh, take notes. Once you have your kids, once you give her the kids she wants, that's it. I'm done.
God. JR, this is not a counseling session. Go on.
poor JR.
I think we need a GoFundMe
No,
for JR's libido.
I could barely come up with things to say about this. So anyway, Aunt May says, well, I don't want you to tell me everything that happened because we have to drag this story out for several more issues, particularly until at least 995, where I tell you that your Uncle Ben and I are brother and sister. So, so we won't deal with this right now.
Oh my
Then we we switched to the Mary Jane / Venom duking it out with Lady Octopus, talking about nothing in particular, but it turns out that Lady Octopus, Spidey shows up. He doesn't realize yet that Mary Jane and Venom are now one and the same. And so they trade a couple of things, and then the Shocker shows up, and decides to give Venom a migraine. But then, Venom clocks Shocker into next week, and he and Lady Ock go away, and then Venom takes Peter to a bridge or whatever, and this is when she explains everything that's been going on. Of course, he is absolutely credulous, vomits in his mask. Boy, that's going to suck putting that on.
Does he put it back on?
he didn't vomit. He's just breathing into it.
He's hyperventilating, is what his.
Oh, I thought he was puking. I was
Yeah, it
with
looks
JR.
like
I
he's
thought he
puking.
puked.
In my head
Because-
canon, he's puking. He's puking. Because I certainly would, if I found out that my significant other or whatever was now attached to an alien symbiote. But then again, that would explain a lot of things. Take notes, Josh. Well, then Eddie now is going to, because our last issue, because we have to keep thinking of all these creative ways to kill off people. So we had a woman eaten by an anaconda. At least we could have had Paul Rudd, Jack Black show up to liven it up a little bit. So Eddie's investigating. Carnage is saying, oh, we got to kill. Then Torment shows up in Shocker's apartment, chops his arm off. And he's going to die. Peter explains that it was Ben Riley all along. God, I don't. And then we find out. Then the police go to, find out. Go to Shocker's apartment. He's dead, and there's a written in blood is Carnage ruled. The end. And I could barely get that out. They're just.
Really, I mean, everybody comes back eventually. Is Herman really dead, JR? Is Herman dead?
I mean, who knows? To be honest, I mean,
He's dead. For
they
this story.
brought Electro back not too long ago, so
That's
I
true.
just think this is stupid. It's stupid to kill off. I mean, Shocker has been around since early Romita Senior.
Yeah.
It's just but then again, the editors don't edit on these books, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, JR, what's your grade, sir?
I know, D. This whole thing's going to get a D. I might as well just put up a sign, D. Move on.
Okay. All right, we have a D on the table. The symbiote expert, Tyler. What do you give for this one?
I give this a C-.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. Josh,
D.
Christina.
I went with a B.
What?
Hey, Mike.
I'm giving this a D+. Because the art's okay. The art's pretty good. I will say that.
I'm going to give it a B. I'm with Christina. I liked it. I'm with you, Christina.
Man.
Man, we're on the complete opposite ends, y'all. Oh, the Crawlspace is so damn negative. What would I just do? I just gave it a B.
I know.
No, we're not. Okay.
We
JR,
questioned the wisdom, but that's okay.
what'd you like besides the variant cover that you picked up for it?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right, we'll
I
move
mean,
on.
honestly, if like a tornado or earthquake hit Marvel offices and they lost all the, all the rest of the story and art that's being plotted out and just decided not to revisit it, I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't care.
Okay.
Let it, just like, Kylo Ren said, let it die.
You just, never mind. Christina, let's go to Miss Positive. What did you like about this issue?
I did like the art a lot better.
too.
It helped that they weren't bouncing between artists this time.
Absolutely.
I did like when Peter found out that Mary Jane was Venom and his reaction to it, because that's probably what he would do, is hyperventilate when he found out. And then
that's what the readers did, right?
Yep. And then I love that the symbiote's poking at Peter, saying him and her and Mary, Paul broke up, and he's just saying basically what all of us are thinking at this point.
Hey,
Right.
she's single.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Pete, she's single. Paul.
It made some people happy.
I did also like at the beginning his conversation that he had with May at the beginning of the book, and then I also appreciated that we didn't have his gaggle of alien friends in it either.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm glad they're gone. Mountain Dew chick. Yeah, she's gone.
Mhm.
Also, chat, let's hear your grades too. We'll get to them in a second. Mike, a D, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I do like Ed
Okay.
McGuinness's art. That's one of the reasons why it gets a
Yep.
plus out of me. So there's that. And to be fair, I will say that Peter's reaction, he reacted appropriately because, and if anything, a great kind of like almost semi, almost meme came out of this, like basically that Peter's first reaction when Mary Jane found out he was Venom was concern for her. Paul's reaction when he found out Mary Jane was Venom is like, "Oh, is this why we're not sleeping together anymore?" So shows his shows who's got the real priorities going on.
Also, when Peter found out Flash was Venom, he punched Captain America in the face. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I think because there's parts of it, but yeah, that there's parts of it. Well, I appreciate the fact that Peter knows and the way he reacted to it. I do have a little bit mixed, but we'll go into that with concept because I have really mixed reactions to how that conversation between her and Peter went. That are,
Go ahead. Let's do cons and pros and cons together.
Okay.
What do you got? What's your con on this?
Okay, so here's the thing. The conversation that Peter and Mary Jane have on the bridge, one, the way she kind of basically goes, if you look at it, she talks about how she says that, "Oh, Peter, we didn't need you to save us. We saved ourselves. We chose this, except in the very last issue, she says, "Oh, we didn't choose to be Venom. We were doing this by circumstances." So
and it's been a pretty running theme of the Venom comic where she specifically says like she did not want this. Neither of them wanted
Exactly.
this. They're sort of like reluctant roommates, I think they've called them.
Exactly. So it's kind of like either Joe Kelly doesn't read the other writers' works, or Nick Lowe is still pretending to be an editor. So take your pick. But yeah, and so it's just I think there was too much forced humor on the whole Aunt May scene with the big Rick, and it's like the whoopee thing and all stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'm sure we're going to talk about the Shocker ending, which I predicted. If you remember, Brad, I said that he was going to get killed in this thing.
As soon as I was seeing those variant covers with Torment,
Well, I mean, Tyler mentioned because of the sonic vibrations. That's why he wants.
Yeah. Because get this, because the Torment says, well, it turns out because your mom had a sister and she had a kid, and that kid grew up to marry a Watson, which reminds me, by the way, of that scene in Spaceballs where it says, I am your father's cousin's brother's room, cousins. I'm your father's brother's cousin's roommate. What does that make me? Absolutely nothing. This whole thing. So Herman is somehow Mary Jane.
He's in the family tree of Mary Jane.
Cousin twice removed by somehow. Why? There's no. It's just it's just an excuse for.
Well, that's his motive. He kills family trees.
Yeah,
and it's convenient that he kills this one where he's got the Shocker gloves.
Convenient.
Yeah, it's very convenient. It's like, oh, and he also just so happens to have weapons that can potentially go after symbiotes. How lucky me. But yeah, no, the idea of having to kill off like Shocker. Yeah, he's a B-list villain, but he's like the B-list villain.
Yeah, when you think of Spider-Man stopping like a superpowered criminal, Shocker's going to be there. He's like the bank robber, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, isn't he like, in the original Ultimate Run? Peter takes down Shocker like 11 times throughout. It's just like the opening.
He's the everyman villain.
Yeah, exactly.
He's basically.
And there's no way he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's basically Shocker is basically who Spider-Man would be if he was a criminal. If you think about it, because they're both kind of techie guys, they both kind of have similar kind of full body costume things, except of course, and they kind of have like a and again maybe it's just because you're kind of reading because you're coming off of having read Superior Foes of Spider-Man when he was part of that crew, he was kind of the butt of the of the jokes there, because he was like he's the guy who he was the one villain who didn't get any respect.
He's the Dangerfield.
I like Peter. So, yeah. So this idea of him just killing him off just simply because, we have to have something shocking, no pun intended, for the story. It's kind of like, yeah. All right.
Josh, you gave it a low grade too. D, what did you not like, or what did you like?
Opening splash page. I'm a sucker for splash pages. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, yeah, I don't need to hear about Aunt May's sex life. I don't like MJ as Venom. It doesn't make sense to me. I do like Peter's reaction, but killing off Herman. It seems like Mike said, it's for shock value. Like that's
literally.
Yeah. I don't really care.
Did we get pros and cons out of everybody? Christina, did we hear from you? Tyler, go ahead.
I'll say my one big pro, even though it's mostly cons, my one big pro, I really liked the Carnage and Eddie scene, where it's just like Carnage is taunting him the entire time, and then like even when he kills all the butterflies, and it's like, wait, what was that? It's like you can't do that unless I say so. And then Carnage is like, well, you haven't been killing anybody, but it's sort of also hinting that maybe Eddie is not as in control as he thinks. And so I think it's good foreshadowing. It's a good dynamic, and I like the stuff there. So,
question, Tyler. At the end of this, is Eddie going back to the Venom suit and Mary Jane free? Or is this the end of Mary Jane Venom?
Well, we know it's not. I'll just say that much, since we know she's showing up in Queen in Black in a new design.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I think this is the end of Eddie as Carnage. I think by the end of this series, I don't know what's happening to Eddie, but I think Eddie and Carnage will no longer be together anymore. So,
okay, all right. Let's get chat going for grades on this one. Let me scroll back up. Upon the horizon, JR covering a symbiote crossover. This is gonna be good. I hope we've not disappointed. JR hates it. Mr. Comics, the con is art, confusing story, and art. Oh. I get the Shocker variant because Herman. Absolutely love Ed McGuinness art. 1,000 times better than last issue. Okay, so Mr. Comics was upset with the alpha issue for art. He likes this art much better. Let's see. Herman, no! Killing off the Shocker is stupid. Stop killing off famous villains for those awful new villains.
Yeah, it's just kind of cheap shock value, and I know he'll be back, but it's just kind of disappointing that we're going to be without him for a while now. So,
Mr. Comics gave this one a B+, so he's back on board with the crossover. Jeff Cole gives it a B-. Trayvon gives it an A+, high issue.
Oh.
Tevia gives it an F for killing off the Shocker. Let's see. I'm with you, JR. Spider-Man is crap. Yeah, this issue is a C- as the multi-Don Carlo. Upon the horizon, maybe a C+, going back and forth here. If Marvel doesn't want Peter and Mary Jane together, just kill her or have them divorced. I'm good. B- out of Jeff Cole. Shocker did nothing to deserve this. And Tevye says, I hope this is the end of Mary Jane as Venom. So, all right, Mike, I think you got the next issue, don't you?
I do indeed. Okay.
Venom 255. Let me pop this up on the screen in just a second.
Okay. All right. So,
there you go. Venom 255.
So part 3, this is going to be written by Al Ewing and illustrated by Carlos Gomez. We open the issue with everybody's favorite dad, Carl Brock. Well, no, not everybody's really favorite dad. I'm just kind of being vicious, but he's basically on the phone. He's talking about how, wow, it was so strange that bus with all my family members blew up.
Not the Brock bus.
Not the Brock bus.
He's like, oh yeah, but my stupid son, of course he's not going to come to the funeral and everything. But now I got, because I already had a funeral to go to before, and now I have another one. Oh, someone's knocking at the door. It's probably some Jehovah's Witness. Let me go take care of that real fast. He only wishes it was, because we will find out initially. Meanwhile, we go to the Daily Bugle, and basically they're seeing the paper of what happened last issue, and oh my gosh, about the Shocker getting killed, and the lurid photo of Carnage ruled. And it's like, and Eddie's like, you did this, didn't you, Carnage? You did this. He's like, oh, hold on, let me take a look. And so he borrows Eddie's eye in a very kind of weird panel. Like he decides to go in his eye socket and looks, and he's like, and then Carnage reads a paper. He says, and he basically chastises Eddie. He's like, look, you're a professional journalist. You write for a living. You can't tell the difference between past tense and present tense. It says Carnage ruled, not Carnage rules. Ergo, it means that Carnage used to rule, and that, but now the tournament is the new hotness. He's basically calling us out now. And basically, so we got to get to killing Torment, Eddie, or else something's going to happen. And he says, and then Eddie's like, yeah, but why kill the Shocker? I know. We need to go to the public library and find out the answers. And it's like, okay, but Carnage is like, well, hopefully you'll find, when you find out what it is, it'll be something really cool. I promise. Okay. Meanwhile, we go to the bar with No Name, as Spider-Man and Venom are showing up, and like looking for, because they of course also heard about the Shocker's death, and they're looking for answers. And who should be there but everybody's favorite Fred, named Boomerang. Yes.
Well, refresh me. I thought he was dead. What the hell?
Oh, he got better.
Fred, he came back in the Zombiotes book.
Yeah, because
I
believe it or
remember
not,
that.
it was the Shocker who brought him back. I think.
Okay.
It was the Shocker. That's right.
It was the Shocker who brought him back. And so
Zombiotes book.
so,
yeah, I remember you reviewing that. You said it was better than you thought it would ever be.
Yeah. Yep. And Fred is like, he's like, no, Spider-Man, you're not coming here. You're not. And of course, Spider-Man starts quipping his jokes, and Fred's like, he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He says, we're here.
Tyler, how did he come back to life? How did Fred,
it was like a magic MacGuffin. It was like the necromancy device or something, and just
okay.
Right. But anyway, Fred's showing more respect for the Shocker now he's dead than he ever did when he was alive. And he's like chastises Spider-Man for making jokes. And Spider-Man's like saying, no, look, yeah, Shocker was a bad guy, but I kind of liked him because he wasn't a psychopath. He wasn't a murderer. He wasn't trying to take over the world or anything like that. He was just a bank robber. And looking, maybe you can help me find him basically, for Herman. Come on. And so, and Fred's like, okay, fine. I'll do you this solid. And that's where we get a reminder from, and Venom's like, wait a minute, you guys used to be roommates. And then Spider-Man's like, well, yeah, you should know this because of, Mary Jane's your host. And Venom's like, oh yeah. And he starts searching through his memories. That was a very difficult time, and everything. And Spider-Man doesn't appreciate this.
They should ask where Grog is. Who's watching the pet?
Exactly. Nobody knows what happened to Grog. He says, and Spider-Man and Spider-Man's like, look, I'm sure your host is screaming at you to leave that stuff alone, just as I'm doing right now, because those were the times before Zeb Wells turned my life to crap. So knock it off. So,
if you think about it, Spider-Man is pointing right where her face would be, right?
Yeah. He's
her face right there.
Yeah. So, and then anyway, so they get called into the office of Tombstone, who basically invites him in for some consulting things. And so, and so Tombstone is like, okay. He's like, okay, all right. Carnage is out there. I need you to we need to take care of. How do we do that? And so, and we need to kill him. And the Spider-Man's like, no, can't we just incapacitate him? And then Venom decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell all the symbiote's weaknesses, because I'm sure this is not going to come back and fight me later. So he starts naming off like fire, separating from the host. Oh, and Sonics. Sonics is pretty much the guaranteed go-to thing for, but sonic vibrations are the good go-to thing for this. And then Tombstone's like, well, that's going to be pretty bad, because it turns out the thing what they didn't explain in the papers is that Herman's gauntlets were stolen. And of course, this kind of puzzles Spider-Man, like, wait a minute, Carnage doesn't steal mementos. That doesn't fit. He says, but Tombstone says, yeah, but it tracks, because if he stole the Shocker's gauntlets and you got Venom there, he's definitely coming after Venom. Yeah. So you're kind of like your next Venom's the next target. Very sounds like it. And meanwhile, Brock is at the library wearing the worst mustache in the world, as this disguise.
I think you have a growth, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. No one will recognize me with this caterpillar on my
Nobody's in the library.
Nobody's surfing the web with Eddie Brock over here. Yeah.
Yeah. So he starts looking through all the different newspaper archives and everything like this, and he kind of and he's like, "Gee, that's weird. A whole bus of my distant relations got blown up.
The Brock bus
got blown up." And then he starts, but gradually over time, he then sees that, oh, his Uncle Mike and Axe Mancy died, and he says, and then he realizes his dad is next, because he finally put together what the FBI, every single police agency, all amateur detectives couldn't figure out, except if they had like an 8th grade reading level, in that Torment targets people's families. He starts from their most distant relatives and works his way closer and closer to his intended target, like a spiral, you see. Yep. And working his way towards the middle. And Eddie realized,
working my way back to you, girl.
And Eddie realizes that Carnage purposely told, because he figured out about that Carnage got his phone and used the texting. And so he realizes that Carnage is the one told Torment this to force Eddie to go after Torment and kill him. That's what, so it's like, I'm going to go try. And so he goes off in a rage to try to save his jerk of a dad. Because remember, I think, Tyler, Eddie does not like his dad at all, but he's still determined to save him.
Didn't he used to beat him up?
Yep.
An abuser?
Yep, that was introduced in the Kate's run, that he was a very abusive.
Yep.
So anyway, meanwhile, Spider-Man and Venom are swinging off, traveling to the city. And Spider's trying to get a lead on where the Shocker's gauntlets are, because he's used his science know-how finally. Because he says he's going to basically using his he basically retrofitted, like using like the same principle as his Spidey tracer. He's able to kind of reconvert it into a spider tracker, because he's able to figure out, because the Shocker's gauntlets give off a certain frequency. So he's able to track that frequency, and so he can find him. And who should happen to be swinging around their direction but Carnage? And so Venom decides, oh, well, we're going to go right after him. And as he does that, Spider-Man knows something curious about his watch. But anyway, Venom just starts beating the tar out of Carnage. And we get an explanation again for why he has all that gold stuff on, because it's anti-Carnage stuff.
Don't get me started on that. Get me started on that.
So it's so he's able to basically start, really
this has never been mentioned, has it? I don't think anti-Carnage has ever been mentioned.
You didn't pay attention to Venom War, the awesome, amazing conclusion of Venom War.
No, I guess I didn't. I didn't know the Boomerang came back. I didn't know he got gold boxing gloves. I mean, I missed all the crap.
But the yellow stuff is anti-Carnage, so he's able to hurt the Carnage symbiote, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna and they're about ready to just kill him, and then Spider-Man says, whoa, wait a minute. Carnage didn't kill the Shocker. He doesn't have the gauntlets. So somebody's trying to frame him. And he says, well, why would anybody do that? And that's when a Carnage reveals he's Eddie Brock. And all of a sudden, the Venom symbiote seems to grow large in his torso, and his head's like,
it's like, you snap out of it.
And
slap him like Nicolas Cage in Moonstruck.
Yeah, he's shot, and then of course Carnage slaps Spider-Man away, and Venom's like, "Oh my gosh," and it's like, and Carnage says, "Hey, good job," and getting rid of both Mary. Getting rid of the
they slapped him so much his lenses became one lens right there. Look
right? Yeah. But Carnage congratulates Eddie on the distraction because it's, hey, you basically have his two X's go after Spider-Man's two X's go after him instead of us. So, and anyway, so Carnage guards, and so Brock goes towards his dad's apartment, goes barging in there. It's like, oh my gosh, what is this? But what does he find? He finds Torment sitting there, the dead body of his dad, with the words "Torment rules" written in blood. And Torment's like, oh, well, it's about it. It's so good that you gave here. It's kind of perfect that we're here together, and to be continued. So.
The end. All right, Mike, what is your grade on this one?
Honestly, I'm giving this a B. I kind of liked it. I kind of like this one. Maybe because there was no Paul. There was no stupid stuff going on with it that was going on with the Venom book as normally.
That artwork, the artwork too.
It's a good, decent artwork, of course, by Carlos Gomez. It's good. It's a decent team up between Spider-Man and Venom, and also maybe Eddie's reaction and how he's actually kind of playing detective here. So yeah, it's pretty decent. So.
We have a B on board. We have Christina with your grade.
I'll go a B.
Ooh, Josh, you coming up with us?
Slightly. I'll do a C minus.
C minus. Okay, JR. Are we getting out of D land? I suspect not.
No.
We have a giant D.
Nope.
D.
Phrasing,
we have two B's. A C and a D. Tyler, what does the symbiote expert think?
You thought I was already over the place. I'm going A for this one.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right. I'm going to give it a B. I'm giving it a B with Mike. So, Mike, what's your pros? What'd you like?
Oh, gosh. There's a lot of things in this. I mean, like I said, I do like the team up aspect between Spider-Man and Venom. Granted, I would have preferred if there was more MJ leaking through, because it's kind of hard to tell where the symbiote begins and where she starts, but anyway,
do we even see Mary Jane's face, or is it just all symbiote?
No, Well, that's what's kind of confusing. We don't know if it's a lot of it is symbiote talking, or if it is Mary Jane.
Yeah, we don't see Mary Jane once.
Typically, when it's the way Ewing writes it, it's almost like movie rules. Like Venom's just in control while he's suited up. It's just unless they specifically show Mary Jane saying something, it's typically the Venom symbiote that is talking and in control.
Right. Okay. Yeah, okay, that tracks. But then, and also, I did like the fact that Spider-Man was actually paying a salute to Herman. I mean, saying that, yeah, this is, even though that they were on opposite sides, that he still kind of like Herman, like the Shocker for, and thought he could actually turn him around at some point, which I think is nice. And that, saying that he would, kind of like help me find this guy's killer. I do also kind of appreciated the interaction there between Eddie and the Carnage symbiote, of course, because they're kind of like, the idea that, and having Eddie actually use some intelligence here to kind of figure out what the motivation here for Torment is and stuff. So, and the art, and of course, Carlos Gomez's art is really good too.
Always solid out of Gomez, honestly.
Yeah.
Didn't he do the
except for that
the Mary Jane miniseries?
He did, yes.
Yeah, except the only weird one is, of course, is that one shot you have there with this perspective where you have, where you have Venom going, surprise, shocked at the Eddie Brock reveal. That looks kind of weird, the way, because you have Spider-Man standing in front of him, and it's like, I don't know.
It's a perspective thing.
It's still great art. Still great art.
Oh yeah, it's still pretty. Very solid, very dynamic, and it's
Tyler, you gave it an A. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I mean, just on top of everything that he already mentioned, just like, I really like the Carnage and Eddie interactions. I think Like that's been a solid through both the Soul issues and now this as well. I also really like Ewing's whole acknowledgement of canon with Fred and Spider-Man's relationship, and then Herman and Spider-Man's relationship, and I really appreciated that. And so, I mean, and then on top of that, like he already said, I really like Eddie doing actually investigative journalism, looking stuff up. And then I also think, on top of all that, I really liked yes, it's a classic crossover where everybody fights for a little bit, but I think the reason for this makes sense. Eddie does not have time to talk. Eddie is in a panic mode. He's like, get out of here. Like, he's already at best of times like quarrelsome with Spidey, but like this is like I'm on a mission. Get out of my way. And he's panicking. And so I like that. And just like obviously the art is great. So all of this works for me. I don't think there's a single part of this. I shouldn't say that. We can get into cons, but it's really worked for me.
Tyler, I want to know, who is Torment? Who is behind that mask, in your opinion?
Based on the issues we have read so far, I really think this is Cletus. Like everything, like there's a few more things that throw me off, but overall, I think the majority of reasons I've seen lead us to be Cletus. Because last time we saw Cletus was, I think it was a Venom War Carnage tie-in, and Cletus, or it might have been the end of the Carnage series, whatever. But Cletus just like pulled himself away from the Carnage symbiote. He's like, I don't care about this God stuff that you want. I don't care about this necro blood spear or whatever. I just like killing. You've gone so far away from what Carnage is. You don't love it anymore, man. So like, come back to me when you're tired of playing God, is what he told him. So
what issue did that happen in when Cletus and Carnage split?
Was that the Venom War? The very end of the Carnage series, and the Venom War was on its own interacting with Meridius.
Okay.
So yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, Cletus would write Torment rules because he used to write Carnage rules.
Yeah, that's why he writes Carnage ruled, because Carnage used to rule, doesn't rule anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That's pretty good. I like that. And he's got red on him. I mean, he's got red like Carnage.
And it's not just the fact that they were texting buddies either. That there's almost the way the dialogue is written, it almost feels like there's an over familiarity that the Torment has with the Carnage symbiote. That there's and it just, so it would track in terms of if this was just, and also it would set up the idea like, oh, Carnage symbiote going back to Cletus, after the end of this.
But Carnage, Cletus, that's a new thing for him to kill family trees. Like, that's a whole new thing that I don't think Cletus has ever done.
Yeah, we can get into that in the next issue, but I think there's something off about Cletus, which I don't sure what, but
okay. Who else wants to? Any other pros that we've not mentioned? Okay, Mike, what's your cons?
Well, I know this issue rests on the idea of Eddie Brock's dad being in danger. And I think the problem is, given the fact that, I guess, I know, Tyler, you probably have a better understanding about Carl Brock and Eddie Brock's family history with them, but it's kind of, I think it kind of makes it a little bit hard for readers who haven't been familiar with that kind of history to kind of care, essentially, for that Eddie's dad is going to get killed. I mean, granted, it's a motivation. It makes sense, but I think part of it is you kind of have to, I didn't really quite get that was the one thing about, you can get that you can see the stakes there, but it doesn't, unless you kind of, if you understand like the history between, Eddie's dad and that, I don't think it didn't quite.
Yeah.
Have we seen the dad since Donny Cates's Venom run?
No, we have not. Last time we saw him, like, I was going to get into that. He just, like, the Venom symbiote left him just walking alone in the wilderness.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And he was an abusive dad. There was something else that
Eddie
stole a car or something.
Okay, originally in Lethal Protector, he was a neglectful dad, and they chalked it up to Eddie's mom dying in childbirth. That's why he sort of hated his son. Eddie Brock did everything he could to try and please him, didn't work. And then the Cates run, it revealed he was abusive, that Eddie was drunk driving as a teen, and he killed a kid. And then Eddie Brock with his dad, he beat, I guess Carl had like an inside with the law, and so he was going to get Eddie off easy, but he had to convince himself he was innocent. and so that's where the whole got to save innocence comes from, and so it's just he's not a good guy.
In chat, Zach actually has a good point. He says Cletus never had a family, so he might want his victims to be orphaned too.
Oh, there you go.
That's a pretty good.
I like
theory,
that.
Yeah.
Zach. I like that.
Yeah, good idea.
Like that.
If I had a big con, I mean, I'm just going to jump into this. Just speaking of his dad, does anyone know where Carl Brock lives?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't live in New York, does he?
He lives in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, wait a minute.
yeah.
Why is the no? It says
funeral. I mean, I don't know.
No. It says the South Bronx up here.
Yeah.
He moved.
When?
Well,
last time we saw him, like I said, he was living in San Francisco with Dylan, and then Eddie Brock took Dylan away, and we just literally, I'm looking at the last page we saw him. He's literally walking in the desert of, like, I assume somewhere in the
the writer made him move so they could kill him.
I guess so.
I guess so.
And that in itself, while I do understand killing him, and I think it does raise the stakes for Eddie's personal involvement, I also do think it's a bit of a shame because Eddie doesn't have a lot of reoccurring characters. He doesn't have a lot of supporting cast, so this does eliminate one of that small number of people for him. And we
just killed a damn busload of them.
Yeah, so
bus of rocks,
So that's less of a con and more of just like I'm of two minds of it, where it's like I understand it, but also it is kind of a shame.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other pros or cons before we move on to the next issue?
How about Eddie's Magnum PI impersonation?
JR, we haven't heard anything out of you. Hold on, JR, what did you not like about it? I got the image you're talking about there. There you go.
It would be repetitive. Who is Bailey Bushkin?
Bailey Bushkin, I think she was in the Eddie Brock Carnage series, she was like a podcaster who was linking Eddie to deaths and stuff, so he could go after serial killers to kill.
Wasn't she related to the Daily Globe?
Yeah, I was going to say Barney Bushkin.
Barney Bushkin, isn't she related to him?
Yeah, I think she. She's actually I just looked up a Google thing now. She is like a Daily Globe reporter.
Yeah, this says she is niece of the Daily Globe publisher Barney Bushkin. Look at that.
Is Barney still alive? Or they kill him off somewhere?
I think he's still alive.
Last we saw him was probably in the 70s when Spider-Man went and worked for him.
Last we saw him was in the Zdarsky's Spectacular Spider-Man Annual.
What was he doing?
Really?
It was him versus Jonah. I'm pretty sure. It was like,
okay. All right.
And one more thing too, like for example, when Magnum is researching all these kills, Bailey Bushkin could only tie about 70 kills to Torment, but she theorized there were hundreds more left unsigned. Okay. All right. So getting back to Spider-Man, it's like, okay, so you have just this mass murderer, and it's almost it's getting to like Batman Joker stupidity levels. To such a certain point in time, you have to kill the bastard. That's just it. There's this whole we don't do that or whatever. You're killing.
You think Spider-Man should go out and kill Torment? Is that what you're saying?
Or let him die? And it's like it's like when I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. But
he could call up his friend Frank Castle.
Point in time where you have to let people get what they deserve, and in order to save lives, you have to let somebody get what they deserve. You don't let John Wayne Gacy, you don't let him go on parole or whatever. You don't, or the Green River Killer or whatever. Either you lock these guys up forever or you kill them.
Spider-Man doesn't even know Torment exists at this point, though.
No, he has absolutely no.
But once he does,
do you think? Yeah,
that's not a con against this issue, then.
No,
once he does, he should let him get killed or die or do it himself. So that's just anyway. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
What would make this crossover make it more enjoyable for you, JR? Just no symbiotes? What?
It's hard. It's one of those things where you're asking me to, it's like asking somebody why they like a particular song or why they like a particular,
Yeah, I'll give
or
you
why
that.
they don't like something, and it
You just don't. Yeah.
you just don't. And it's like I've told you before, like, when like, for example, when I look at issues to, I mean, for example, Maximum Carnage, I hated Maximum Carnage, but Maximum Carnage was so delightfully bad, you could just find you could find all kinds of problems with it. Spider-Man constantly complaining about his ribs, or, half of Manhattan in flames or whatever, and the other half of Manhattan, just going out their normal business, pretending nothing is happening. I mean, there just was a lot of stupidity. And here it's just there. I mean, if I were to do this for Spider History, I don't know what I would do with it. There's nothing to grab onto. There's nothing.
Now, JR, you have to admit this is better than Spider-Man in Space. Will you give me that?
I don't have to admit anything.
I can't handle the truth, evidently. Really, is this not a better story? This is more understandable. This is more grounded.
No, I mean,
there's no making love to Mountain Dew chicks. There's no little symbiotes running around. Well, there are, but
you know what? I just find these types of stories, to be honest, that involve mass murder, I just find them repulsive, to be honest. In a superhero story, I mean, to me, superheroes are colorful characters who fight other stupid, colorful characters. When we're getting into like serial killing and mass murder and things like that, I think we're getting too dark. I don't like these type of stories. I don't like stories involving torture. I don't like stories involving brutality. I like corny, cheesy, slapstick, superhero antics.
And this is a little bit how am I going to put this? Tyler, Venom and Carnage have moved from the superheroics of Spider-Man, which is a little bit more colorful, a little bit more fun. And Venom and Carnage are, well, not recently Venom, but Carnage is very R-rated dark. Yeah, Spider-Man's a PG-13 hero. Venom and Carnage more so is R.
I mean, yeah, he's a serial killer who got superpowers, so it's like
he is, and it's almost like Carnage is hard to mix with Spider-Man anymore because he's so dark.
Yeah, it's a different type of villain that Spider-Man is forced to fight, and I mean, I like that, but I mean, I think it's completely his right to not like this kind of stuff. I don't.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. We got grades on this issue. We got a C-, multi Don Carlo. What else we got? Vinkman says both of the storylines suck for different reasons. JR is what he said.
And I don't want to disparage any, nod to Tyler there. I don't disparage anybody who likes it. We all like different things. Yeah, it doesn't quite work with. I mean, in a way, Spider-Man's out of his league. If he's not willing to, he's the wrong type of hero for this type of story.
Punisher and Wolverine are perfect for this stuff, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It actually might be more interesting if you have, because they're more matched for each other. They're more, in a way, this is not really Spider-Man's, this is not his world. I mean, he doesn't, if you're going to go dark and gruesome and stuff like that, he doesn't fit, bring in Wolverine, and like I always said when we did that What If issue, Venom taking over the Punisher is perfect. I mean, that is, it's just so. Again, everybody likes what they like. I just think this is just not Spider-Man. We don't like Spider-Man in space, and I don't like Spider-Man stories. He just, he like I said, he fights silly ass villains. So.
JR gave this issue a big Rick, is what Mr. Comics said. He gave him a big never mind. B on this one, Jeff Cole. B+ says Mr. Comics. D, let's see, we got some others down here. Zach says this isn't kid friendly at all. To me, it makes the mistake to release this so close to the movie.
Very,
Zach
yeah.
C-. So. Okay, our last issue of the Death Spiral is going to go to, who's got this one? Christina,
me.
I think. Okay, me. Christina, let me pop it up. We got.
I do have the Amazing Visions variant with Carnage on it, so.
Well, let's take a look. Hold it up. Oh, that artist that's doing those variant covers is so cool. I even with the web shooters on the outside, he really does a great looking art. It almost makes me want to buy 2 covers, but I'm not going to do it for $5 each. I just get the main one.
The one with Mary Jane on it. So,
and I like Mark Bagley, but I didn't like that cover.
More classic cartoony, kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't like that cover. I don't like how big Spider-Man is next to Mary Jane on that.
Perspective confuses Brad.
All right, Death Spiral number 4.
AKA Eddie Brock Carnage number 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one you think is issue 11?
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yes. Because
it does, because it doesn't even have Joe Kelly on the. Oh, it does. So what parts did Joe Kelly write on this? I wonder.
I think the Spider-Man and Venom stuff he wrote, and the Eddie Brock Carnage stuff is his.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
all right, here we go.
So we open years ago with a young Eddie Brock basically getting a beat down from his dad, and he said he's doing this because of blood, and he leaves. He's basically telling Eddie to leave for a while. He doesn't care where he goes, and so we cut back to present day in the Bronx, where Eddie finds Torment with his dead daddy. And he's saying,
Daddy.
This is about, Dad. Yeah. He said, this is about blood. And he's like, isn't it always? And so we cut to the 3 pages of
filler
titles. Yep. And so we cut to Eddie Carnage trying to kill Torment stuff. And so he uses these chakra gauntlets on him to knock Eddie out. And we'll follow up later and see what happens with that.
Real quick, let me ask Tyler a question. Has Shocker and Carnage ever interacted?
I don't think those 2 specifically have. I know Venom has fought Carnage before, and
because I'm wondering.
Venom has fought Shocker, but
I'm wondering if Cletus is aware of Shocker. I mean, he's aware of him. I just didn't know if they had any relations enough for Cletus to kill him if he is indeed Torment. So, anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Come back to Manhattan after Spider-Man wakes up after Carnage hit him, and of course he has to make a joke that at least nobody bonded with Toxin, and they have a toxic ex, and Mary Jane is Venom. He's like, yeah, very funny. And so they are off to go find Carl Brock because Venom seems to know where he is. And poor Peter doesn't want any more surprises anymore. And of course, we have to cut to Peter's BFF going through a trippy dream right now with these little Groot.
Looks like Groots.
That's what
Looks
I
like
just
Groots.
said. Yeah. And so he's having that weird dream, and he's they were sucking the stuff out of him that he absorbed in the machine that he created. And so right at the very last panel on the page, there's little creature things like coming out of his nose.
Would we all agree this is Joe Kelly's contribution to the story?
Oh,
yeah,
probably,
100%.
yeah.
100%,
and the rest is Charles Soule. Would you not agree?
Yeah,
maybe some of the Peter is Kelly, but other than that,
yes. And so they, Venom and Peter make it to Carl Brock's place, and they think that maybe Carnage convinced Eddie to kill Carl himself. So they are able to go and track the gauntlets that Shocker's gauntlets. And so Carnage is running around trying to find Torment to go after him and stuff. And so in the process of doing that, he knocks over this tower, and so Peter and Venom end up stopping the tower from falling on a bunch of people. And so they end up following Carnage to where he's going to face Torment, and the Torment is low on batteries in the gauntlets and stuff, but he's able to put Carnage, Peter, and Venom on the wall. And then it turns out, surprise, surprise, Carnage is working with Torment, and Eddie Brock is knocked out from when Torment knocked him out with the gauntlets. Because Eddie's not here right now. He's knocked out.
Eddie's not home.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Do we have anybody in the letters pages? That's a crawl spacer. Let's see. see anybody. But okay. Christina, what is your grade on this one?
I really liked it. This is my favorite one so far. I'm going to give it a B+.
B+. Mike, what's your grade?
Slightly down. Well, it's going to be a C+ for me on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Josh, what's your grade?
C-.
C-. Let me hold off on JR. Tyler, what's your grade on this one?
A-.
Woo! And the complete opposite is JR. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a D.
A D. Okay, I'm going to give it a B. Let me hear it, Christina. This is your favorite one of all of them, you said?
So
Okay,
far,
why?
yeah. I did think Jesus had better art in this issue compared to the Alpha one. I didn't notice any weird panels that stuck out at me, so I liked that. I did think that the story's getting more interesting as it's picking up, as it's slowly unraveling, and then Tyler talked about, this was basically Carnage issue number 11 and stuff, but I kind of liked that he had more to do, because the last few issues he didn't do much, so other than doing his investigating. So
I even liked the cliffhanger at the end where Eddie is asleep, and that tracks for symbiotes.
Yeah,
they go off and play.
Yeah, it was also foreshadowed pretty well in the last few issues where Carnage, Carnage took his eye out. That was not his control doing that. Like, that was...
Yeah. So...
Yep.
I agree. Tyler, what'd you like about it?
I mean, I really liked Eddie stuff. I like, again, covering the Carl for what was going on with him. For readers who might not be aware, shows what kind of father he was, in case you don't know Eddie's history. I think Eddie being out of control is very on brand for Eddie, because, I mean, if you know Eddie, even classic Eddie, anger issues. He's got anger issues. So I think him just freaking out at Torment, and I do think it goes a little too far with throwing a truck as a tantrum. But other than that, I think it's very on brand for Carnage just freaking out, not listening to reason, just wanting to kill. And I think it makes sense, especially Eddie with the Carnage symbiote. I think I really like that. I think it's just...
So is Eddie asleep here? This is all Carnage doing this?
Go ahead.
I think we were both going to say the same thing, where at some point Eddie just falls unconscious. And
I think it's when, like I said, when Torment knocked him out with Shocker's gauntlets at the beginning, because you could see that Eddie's eyes were closed. So I think that's when he got knocked out. Because we don't cut back to him. Because we don't cut back to him until he's already running the streets back as Carnage. So
this Carnage thing is like is a feint then to try to save Baby Kill, either lure Torment out, or if knowing that Spider-Man and Venom are after him, also to lure them towards him. So it's like lure him in a trap. Then okay, that's kind of clever. Yeah.
I mean, isn't this
one question?
In a way, the original Venom symbiote back when it was introduced, I mean, was taking Peter Parker for joyrides when Peter was asleep. I mean,
the symbiotes do that.
Yeah, it's pretty well established that symbiotes.
It establishes in here Peter freeballs it underneath his suit.
Yeah.
Just the costume expert over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick on this, is he doing something to these three? Torment?
That's what it was.
I think he's used.
That's what Torment. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, because
what is he doing?
I thought he said that the gauntlets weren't charged, and I think he might have been tricking them, and he was using his spiral stuff on them to lock them onto the wall and stuff. So, but Peter's spider sense doesn't go off until later. So, but I'm not sure.
I don't understand what these things are doing though.
I think it's just a visual representation of this spiral he's got between these three.
The family tree thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually there.
Yeah,
So
but
it didn't stop him from moving. It just
but I think it's whatever Torment's modus thing is, like what he's doing is, because there's a point in here where he's about to kill Eddie, says, but it's not your time yet, because you're not, because there's still
spirals aren't tight enough.
The spirals aren't tight enough. Yeah. And so I think it's whatever Torment sees. He has like this weird visual representation thing where he's like seeing how Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage are connected to each other, even though they're not really like family members. There
So
is
that's
they are
the view. That's the view that allegedly Cletus, if it is Cletus, they have to be a tighter circle.
Yeah, because again, they're all separate spirals, but they're all interconnected. So he's saying because there's a connection between all three of them, so that he's able to see. Because especially if you go into the idea, because the symbiotes linked them to because the symbiotes link them to Spider-Man, the symbiotes link it to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's linked to them, and so it's this weird. So he's seen the pattern between these three. I guess visually. And so the other thing too is, again, it's also weird that he's like, because again, like you said, Tyler, he has to kill him he has to kill when it's part of his spiral for killing family members. He has to kill him in a certain order, which is okay. Because he saves his intended target for last, because he has to kill the family member So it's, So it's a weird. So yeah, I think it's just more of a visual representation of what Torment, how he sees them interconnected, the three of them, and how they're kind of a family in and of themselves, even though they're not blood related.
I forget where we are for pros and cons. Who else wants to talk? Anything not said? JR?
Yeah, the only thing that I have to add, it's like the inker went absolutely mad on this issue. This is just I understand mood and things like this, but it's almost like, oh my God, I got to use up all this ink before it goes bad, and so that's again, I've always said I can't draw a straight line with a straight edge, but this is just
think
really,
it's too dark, don't you?
Well, it is. It just seems like it's really and I'm not talking about dark as in a dark story. It's just, you can't see things half the time. And plus I'm sick of the same three. Remember how tedious the Tombstone maps were during Gang War?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like,
this is annoying as hell. This 3 pages.
Yeah. So they're not adding anything. They're not. It's not like they're
adding.
Even the stupid Gang War things were still kind of telling a story. They were showing you how the power was consolidated in New York. This is nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. We got chat. Anybody else have anything to say before we start?
Well, I just want to say one of my cons. I obviously like this issue quite a bit. Why is Spider-Man's spider sense going off before Carnage attacks him?
Yeah, good point. Because he shouldn't be able to detect it.
Carnage does not set that off. So why is it being set off?
Yeah.
I guess you could argue, it's technically a different. There's been like 3 different Carnage symbiotes. Like at this point, maybe it doesn't anymore. But it's just that seems like a very basic thing to ignore for Carnage.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My con is: does anyone care about Brian?
Oh no.
No.
No. This just seems so. Granted, it's in the Amazing Spider-Man comic. This is an ongoing plot, but really, does anyone give a damn?
You know what this is? I'll tell you what this is. This is a Brand New Day era villain origin. That's what this is. This is your freak, your paper doll. This is new Spore Man or whatever.
And plus,
not
to mention, it's kind of gross. The nostril shot of the fungus. That's like, okay.
Yeah.
That is gross.
It's like, okay, yeah.
I can understand. If any one of us got the job of the Amazing Spider-Man writer, wouldn't we want to create our own villain? It's just tempting not to.
Mm-hmm.
And not many work. And I'll give Dan Slott credit. The Mr. Negative is stuck 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Dan Slott credit for that. But not many. Mindworm didn't stick.
No.
Like you just said, Tyler, you just named a bunch of them. Paper Doll. What's the one with the car? Who's the one that drives the car from
Overdrive?
Overdrive. Then there's the vomiting vulture. Then there's what else we got? Who's the meth head? Who's the meth guy?
That was Freak.
Freak.
You didn't read Chasm, Curse of Cain?
Freak
showed up.
God dang. Like, it goes to show you how much Ramita and Ditko and Stan Lee were just firing on all cylinders. Just classic villain after classic villain after classic villain. And they have stuck around 60 plus years. And we're now we're doing Spore Man or Mushroom Man coming out of his nostril.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just kind of rolling our eyes at this potential villain.
Yeah. Already.
And what was the name of Slot's sidekick that he tried? Slot did
Alpha.
a sidekick, and then he did something in the
Alpha was the
Alpha didn't stick. I mean, granted that wasn't a villain, but what was the one in the Learning to Crawl miniseries that also
was Flash. Who was a discount?
Flash.
Who was a
that
discount
didn't
version,
stick either.
Who was a discount version of the Shocker, technically, in that one. He used the sound waves as his weapon of choice too.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Spider Boy, Alpha and Spider Boy are very similar.
Yeah.
Well, can't stand either one of them. Okay, chat. Let's see your grades. What do we got here? Let me scroll back. It's Fungus Groot. O'Brien's in the house. We got B. Multi Don Carlo gave it a C. Mr. Comics with a D.
Ooh.
Ooh, don't let the letter page. Don't write a letter into the letter page saying this sucked. I'm out of here. Good night. Is what
Yeah.
Jeff gave it a C plus. Mr. Comics again D plus. Torment has some plans, but he said, "quote the spirals are not closed." Got it. I give it a D. Says Tevia. I don't care about Venom. Still dumb. Only Joe Kelly cares about Mushroom Man. No one cares about Brian. Can Marvel end this garbage with these awful new villains? They both suck. Same goes with Shay. I forgot about Shay.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone forgot about Shay, to be fair.
Oh, Shay.
Hey, who?
Man, what happened to Shay? He's messed around with Mountain Dew chick.
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't exclusive though. Wouldn't it be funny if he meets up with Shay and she's married? Wouldn't that be funny?
Oh no, my headcanon says that she hooked up with Randy Robertson.
Okay.
Spore Man. I have 5 villains I love to create, aka Booger Man. Don't forget about Rabin and his stupid God Waby.
Gosh. Yeah,
that's a bad villain. He's going to be the Judas Traveler of this era. That's pretty good. B minus upon the horizon. Let's hope she's gone. For Shay. Okay. That is the last issue. We did pretty good on time. Look at this guy. Very good. All right. Final thoughts, Mike. Hit me.
Honestly, this is it's an okay crossover. It's still kind of a mixed bag on a little bit, honestly, because it's kind of goes up and down. It kind of depends on who's writing it. I kind of am curious as how they're going to try to end this thing to see who, because I'm kind of hoping, my big wish is that since Torment's probably obviously going to go after Dylan at some point, that Paul's going to die in the process. That's my big hope.
We hope.
With this big hope in this crossover in this thing they
have to realize we want a massive death, something memorable for such a bad character. I mean, what could we do? What could we do to Paul?
The easiest thing would be that Paul dies trying to protect Dylan from Torment. That's
probably what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen. But if it were up to me, I don't even want to give him a death. I just want him to fade away into comic obscurity, and I don't even give him like the satisfaction of a momental death, because guess what? If he dies, Deathsprout is going to be known as the Paul dies event. That's what happens.
That's true.
Paul dies. I don't want to give him that. I don't want to give him that importance. I just want to forget about him.
Right. I say the Goblin takes him up on the bridge, and then he throws him off, and then Spider-Man webs and snaps him. Intentionally. Like Gwen. Whoops, snap. All right, Christina, final thoughts.
I get to do the fun stuff next with Spider-Man 94.
Yes, we'll talk about satellites in just a minute. Josh, final thoughts.
Yeah, no, looking forward to satellites.
JR, when we do Spider-Versity, I hope you can join us. You can review one book for satellites, and then you can leave.
But I would like to say my final thought kind of
Yes,
playing
sir.
off what everybody else has been saying. When you wonder, because they try with the story with they have all these deaths and all this thing, you really wonder if they could possibly stick to the landing. Because how many times have we seen them try to, even Maximum Carnage is an idea, it's like, you really get something big started and all this chaos and whatever, and then they usually kind of go out with a whimper. And I wonder if that's ultimately where this is headed as well.
Well, the last story was a whimper. With the Spider-Man in space, it had to have 14 artists to finish it. I have a little bit more hope for this issue. It's
it's one of those things. If it has like a really good ending, that would, then like, for example, I could go back and maybe reread this stuff and say, okay, yeah, I see where this is working. I see where this is going or whatever. But it's like, boy, if it doesn't,
I hope we have that for you. I hope on issue 9 of this crossover, Jared's like, well, by God, Brad, I was wrong. These symbiotes, I loved it, and I will kiss you on the lips, JR.
Well, I'm going to tell you, my kids have standing orders to kill me if I ever, like start using one of those scooters at Walmart. If I'm ever sitting on the front porch falling asleep, or if I ever admit to Brad that I was wrong. So those are the, my kids
Even
have
Vinkman's
standing orders
like,
to kill me if any of those happen.
All right, Tyler, I'm glad to have you on the ASM show talking about symbiotes. It's been fun, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's just, I wish I could be here more often. Just a little busier these days. But overall, this very up and down so far for me. But I hope it maintains the momentum, at least for me, that I've had for these last 2 issues. I've really enjoyed some of the stuff, and I hope it just isn't just muddled with some ASM's issues. Like I hope they can really stick the landing. I
agree.
Overall, I have very mixed feelings about a lot of symbiote stuff right now. It's just that, like, I don't like where we're at, but I think there is potential for some of these situations. I just don't think that has been reached, especially with like the MJ Venom stuff. I don't think it's there, but I'm hopeful, though. Not
well.
Exactly
Hopefully, Tyler, we'll have you back next month, and you can continue death spiraling with us.
All right.
All right. Coming up next, we're not done broadcasting yet. We're going to go over to Patreon, and here are the books that we're going to take a look at. We've got the last issue of Ultimate Spider-Man number 24 is what we're going to take a look at, and then Ultimate Endgame, which I need Neil's help because I read the damn thing and I still am damn confused. I have no idea what the hell. We're going to look at that issue before this issue of Venom that we missed last month. And then, Christina, you're going to wrap up the Spider-Man 94 miniseries from the cartoon. And Josh did a read-through, all 5 issues last night, maybe, of Amazing Spider-Man Torn by J.M. Michael Straczynski. And we'll hear his thoughts. And I read issue 10 today of Spider-Man and Wolverine. We'll take a look at that. Mike, is that your book?
Yes, and I did. Yeah, the last 3 issues of that series.
3 last issues, and then Neil is going to look at Black Cat. Cat got Venom's tongue on this cover. It looks like last 2 issues of Black Cat, and then the last issue of Miles Morales 42. So if you want to continue to watch us on the live stream, you can interact with us. There's chat there. Sign up at patreon.com/crawlspace, and we will be back in just a few minutes with that broadcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you in just a few minutes.
Bye.